This is Learn from Others, where we interview a cross-section of successful individuals so you can learn from their experiences, achievements, and even their mistakes. We ask 4 questions that will educate and inspire. Greg Stanley will be your guide as we join our guest on a journey from adolescent daydreaming to success in today's world. Join us on this adventure as we learn from others together.
Welcome to Learn from Others, where we help others succeed by sharing success. I'm very excited to introduce our special guest, Dr. Joanne Connolly. Dr. Joanne, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Well, before we find out what you're actually doing today, if you would, could you tell me, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to be a journalist, a writer, and I wanted to save the world all at once.
Very aspirational for a little kid. That's really awesome. Well, what was one of your favorite subjects or hobbies while in school?
Biology. I love to learn about nature and the bodies, the human bodies, but mostly animal bodies and how different they all are. I'm always fascinated by what Mother Nature has created. It's so diverse, amazing. I'm still amazed.
Yeah, now when I took biology, I had to dissect an earthworm. Did you have to do something like that?
No, we had the eye of a cow and a frog also, if I remember.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I did the frog too. I think I graduated to the frog after the earthworm or something like that. Wow. What was your first job where you earned a paycheck and felt like you had some responsibility?
My most meaningful summer job was working for a wildlife center. I grew up in the boonies of northern Canada, so lots of forests, lots of wildlife, and I was blessed with working in this wildlife refuge for 2 summers. That was amazing.
Wow, that's amazing. Just to think about northern boonies, Canada, that's really amazing. So you must have been surrounded by some amazing wildlife while you grew up.
Yes, very cold, winter most of the time, but yes, lots of bears and lynx, lots of moose also. I'm trying to think, lots of owls at the refuge that we would take care of. More and more bald eagles also show up. So amazing creatures. I could spend all my days just watching them be and learn from them. That's
amazing. Well, if you would, and this leads perfectly in what we're talking about today, what do you do today?
Well, today I am a veterinarian. I am a writer. I wrote a first book, and I'm still working on saving the world, so I'm on track.
You're one of the few guests I've had that what they wanted to be when they were a little kid, they actually grew up to be. I think you're like the 2nd or 3rd out of 90 guests, so that's pretty rare. If you would, tell us, what's your typical work week like and your responsibilities as a vet?
So right now, I'm self-employed. I started an in-home euthanasia and end-of-life service many years ago. I'm at a point right now where I've reached quite a good balance. So I still work at the hospital a couple days a week, and then I work during the weekends at the emergency room, and then I do some home visits. So I enjoy kind of going full circle and helping at all levels with different health issues.
Right. So you're helping from anywhere from the birth of an animal to the passing of an animal, correct? And everything in between?
Yes, basically. Wow, that's amazing.
Now, if you would, walk us through your career path from that time at the wildlife refuge as a summer job to what you're doing today. Like, how'd you get there?
Well, one day at the time, working hard and really loving what I do. And I think that's the key. If you can just live your passions and let your heart lead the way. It's not easy. My God, it's been definitely a tough journey, but when you take it one day at a time, and I love biology, so I love to study hard. So I did all the prerequisites, finished high school, obviously, and took all the harder math and physics and chemistry classes, which physics, oh, God, that's the worst. To me, I get bored easily with physics, but I had a lot of good friends and classmates, so we just powered through that. But Then after high school, I still had to take some more physics classes. But luckily, after a couple years, then I was able to get into vet school, and it became a lot of fun. And vet school for me was 4 years, but now the program has changed into a 5-year program, which is better. It's a tough job. We're learning every day of our life, as a veterinarian. So you need to learn to love learning. So luckily I went into vet school, and after I graduated, that was in Montreal, Canada, I had an opportunity. So they offer specialization programs that last 1 year. And so I applied, and I got matched in Michigan. So I came to the United States, and I did that 1 year of internship. And then I could have decided to continue specializing into just like the human doctors do. You can be just an oncologist if you want to focus on cancer care, or be an orthopedic surgeon where you just do bone surgeries. So I could have picked a specialization, but my love to save the whole world and take care of everybody has followed me, and I wanted to not specialize and just learn about everything.
Wow, that had to be a lot of training, a lot of learning, because there's a lot of animals out there.
Yes, again, so I'm still learning today, but it's still fun, and I've rescued a lot of animals, so I have a lot of rabbits at my house that I've learned from. We've had a lot of chickens over the years. Now there's a pig living with us, so I got to learn more about pig medicine, and cats and dogs, obviously.
Well, if you would, kind of walk us through, what is your typical work week like? I know you mentioned some of your hours there working on some of the weekend stuff, but what does it look like? Do you never know what's happening when you walk in? Like, it depends on the animals that are coming in?
There you go. I don't like routine. I love to have it very different. I get bored when it's all the same, and so my job, you have to be extremely resilient and just very flexible, because you might have a day of appointments scheduled for animals that have not small problems, but just long-term or non-emergency problems. And then you have the hit by a car animal that comes in. This weekend I had a dog. There's a condition in big dogs that the stomach can twist, and it becomes an emergency surgery. This dog just came in and was actively dying. They look really terrible really quickly, so we had to just rush him into surgery. So you never know what's going to happen, and it keeps you very entertained. So I have a lot of great coworkers, and the adrenaline is rushing, and you're saving a life, and I feel good about that, But then I also feel good about seeing the new puppy or new kitten that comes in for his first exam and needs his first vaccine, and we talk about disease prevention and good diet and deworming them because they often have parasites. And then we've scheduled the neutering surgery so they can't have babies, and it helps prevent diseases also. Oh my God, it's so different. One day from the next, I just never know what's going to happen.
Now, I have to ask, what's one of the stranger or rarer animals you've seen pass through your clinic there?
I love to save insects, so I have helped Preying Mantis that did not come to the hospital but was waiting for me at the door when I came home, and it had its front legs stuck in a spider web, and it was just standing there, like looking at me and staring at me, and I took that tiny little branch that I could find, and I separated its front legs, and it just went away and went on about her life, and I thought it was a female. I don't know, got a little female vibe there, but I just, that made me so happy, because I love when I find insects inside the house, I save them all, because saving a life, it just makes my day, and if you can save many lives in one day, and they're harmless, they just happen to get stuck in the house, and spiders, a lot of people are afraid of them, but they eat bugs, like they're part of the cycle of life, of the web of life, so I encourage everybody to save as many lives as you can. And on the other end, when I find an animal, like an insect that's been already crushed or it's kind of half dead, it's struggling, so I will do the euthanasia for the insects, with helping them go to heaven and not let anybody suffer.
Well, when I asked that question, I did not think you'd say an insect, so that is very unique and different. For sure. So it caught me off guard. So as a reminder, you can check out all previous episodes at learnfromothers.org. And if you're a student or an educator, you can search for podcasts by career cluster. So Dr. Joanne, we learned what you wanted to be when you grew up, which was a veterinarian, and that's what you do today. So looking back, if you could do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Not a whole lot. I don't think I took too many detours. Maybe I would actually just make myself play a little more and not be so hardcore studying and so intense about knowing everything, because I'm hard on myself, which is a good quality, but you have to really learn to be balanced. So I might just play a little more and slow down a little more, but overall it's been a good ride. I've mainly listened to myself. Other people give you advice, and sometimes they do make you take some detours.
Yeah, that's really, really great. Looking back and knowing you don't have too many changes means you're in the right spot that's meant for you. So that's great. Well, let's talk to our student who would like to do what you do. What advice would you give them?
Do what you love. If you want to be a veterinarian, you have to love it. You have to learn about it. It's not an easy job. There is a lot of emotional pain that comes with it, because we deal with a lot of animals that are suffering. We have to learn to be good communicator with the families. It gets pretty intense, there's no doubt. I mean, when animals have cancer and they're sick and end of life, and you need to help them pass on and go to heaven, you need to be a very good and strong human being, which is a great goal. So studying hard to know the animals, but also learning from the school of life into communicating and learning some resilience. I was a middle child, so really young I learned to be a good mediator. I was always in the middle of everything, and it helped me understand everybody's perspective when people have arguments or any differences of opinion. So I see that has really helped me in my career. So I would encourage you to be a well-rounded individual, because it's just going to make your job easier.
Oh, yeah, that's great advice. Well, are there current projects you're working on that you would like to share?
I'm writing a second book because animals are the best teachers, and they are still just teaching me amazing things. So I have more to share with others. That would be what I'm the most passionate about. Although there's been a movie, so there's some talks about making a movie with some new friends, new people who have come into my life, and that really appeals to me because animals have shown me a vision. Like, they have a lot of wisdom, and I see how better society could be based on the animal model. I have a lot of ideas how society could be better, so a movie would be a great way to try it out, to build a better world.
Right. And I know one of the other projects that's an ongoing project is your transition to vegan. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, well, I love all animals, so I made that choice of not eating animals quite a few years ago, and it used to be harder. Now, luckily, there is a lot of options out there. There's a lot of great companies that are friendly to the animals, so basically any product, so we're talking about food, so not eating animals but not using any dairy products, and we're finding out that dairy products are not healthy for us. They cause a lot of health issues for people. So, but again, you can find the best vegan ice cream that exists, so there's a lots of ways to get your fix of junk food, if you might call it that. I'm very passionate about living sustainably, so when I buy beauty products or soap and different things, I make sure that there's no animals, no products have been tested on animals. My ultimate goal is to reach a level of zero waste, and that's huge, but one little bit at the time, again, we can do this. Everything happens one day at a time if we just keep putting in the effort. So that's why, luckily, we live 70, some people live to be 100. So we have time to get all of our dreams to come true. So that's what I encourage everybody to do, just follow your passion.
Well, you just took us on your career journey, and as with most journeys, success largely depends on reliable transportation. Now, I'm a huge car enthusiast, and we don't know each other, but could you tell me, what was your first car?
My first car was a Toyota Corolla, named LaToya.
LaToya, the Toyota Corolla. I'm writing that down. I like that.
And she's taken me through, my God, many years of, I could trust her completely.
That's awesome. Well, what's your dream car if you have one?
I love Tesla. Again, I love our planet, so I do want to have the most eco-friendly car that's out there. If it was a flying car also, it would be kind of nice, but I'll go for the most eco-friendly car that I can find.
That's awesome. Well, one great perk to some jobs is a company car. So if I had all the money in the world, I'd love to buy you a cool company car based on your job. And honestly, I Googled vegan cars. So a couple things that came up. The Tesla was one of them. Well, the one I picked for you is one I actually had never heard of, but it's really cool, and I'll send you a picture. It's called the Renault Twizy. Now, what's cool about the Renault Twizy is it's made more or less entirely of plastic, meaning it can be recycled. And then it's one of the only cars that's PETA approved, which is very interesting that they went through that process, as no animal source materials are in its construction at all. And it's 100% electric.
Oh my God, how much does it cost? I need it today.
You know, the bad part is it's only legal in Europe.
I'm open. I might just have to move again. Europe sounds good.
Well, thank you so much for taking us on your career journey today. What's the best way for our listeners to learn more about you or your company?
So find me on my website, www.haley'sangels.com, and it's HAYLEYSANGELS.com, and you'll find out all about me. I'm on all social media platforms, and you can find my book and learn more about who Haley was and what she's done for me. She was a four-legged friend, that's all I'll tell you. But the book will give you lots of insights, and if you have any questions about anything I can help you with in your life, you can just reach out. It's easy. The world has become so small now.
Yes, that is so true. Well, thank you so much for taking us on your career journey today.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Learn from Others, where we help others succeed by sharing success. Where will our next adventure take us? Subscribe to find out. If you know of someone who has a cool career story or occupation, contact Greg through Instagram at Greg Stanley LFO. That's GregStanley LFO. And we will see you soon as we learn from others together.